my main focus was harmony. So every single day since then, in the last 20 years, I'm asking every single day, how can I create harmony in my life, in any sense, in any ways?
What if there are things we never had the opportunity to learn? We've all been to school or training, but there are things they never taught us that actually make a powerful difference in life. I'm here to share with you all the pieces you've been missing: mindset, health, success, and more. And we'll all learn together from guests along the way. We may not have learned it the traditional way, but oh my goodness, let's keep learning how to do things differently. OMG, Teach Me Tribe. Hello, I am excited to be with you today. And so it is now January, and we have made it through the holiday season, and we're starting a new year. And I was thinking that at this time of year, we're often thinking about relationships. And this could be dating relationships or friend relationships. Maybe we're resolving to do something differently this year in terms of who we meet and attract or how we relate to people in our lives. And so today's episode is going to be interesting. If you have maybe noticed a pattern in the types of people you seem to attract to date, or kind of just the types of people that you always seem to meet, is it a pattern that concerns you? Is it a pattern that you're happy about? Do you know why? We're going to talk about it. And so with me today is Girisha Andrea Steigler, and she helps women to become confident in their orgasms. I bet you didn't think I was going to say that. So they can heal their past trauma and abusive relationships. In the last 20 years, she's learned hundreds of methods all around the world. And she has a unique Empress O method that combines ancient traditions and modern trauma healing and grief recovery. So she's helping women to transform, rewrite old stories, unleash the full potential of the woman in them, and has already helped nearly 5,000 women worldwide. Now, she has some specialties in trauma, abuse, codependency, grief, female organ issues, self-love, self-acceptance, and self-worth. So I think that she's the perfect person for us to be talking with about relationships today. And she's been featured on the Yahoo Top 10 as #4 love coach across the world. So that is cool as well. Welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. And right now we are international because you are not in the US as we are recording this episode. So that makes it even cooler too, I think.
Yes, yes. Right now, I'm in Europe, in Hungary and Budapest.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so let's dive right in, because the way that I always like to start is to find out more about your story and how you ended up doing what you're doing now. And you do have one of the more interesting missions of my podcast guests. So how did you end up coaching women about sexuality and about just really self-empowerment, I would say?
Yes, my story is long, but I try to make it short and then just pick few pieces of it, because I couldn't imagine landing in this amazing world, because I become an economist and working in finance in the bank and also in EU funded projects as a financial expert and a project manager. And but when I was 30, something happened in my life, and then I started to do a deeper inner work. And I started to, because my life until that, it was like a normal, this was normal for me, how I grew up. It was, I grew up, let's say, normal family. And when I realized that it's not exactly normal, or we can say not healthy, then I started to heal myself, find a way how I can heal the traumas, the childhood traumas, abusive relationships, and also a lot of all kinds of abuse I experienced. And also it was very interesting that I realized that in a feminine body, but I working like a man. Or
Mm.
when early in my 20s, I was in a high position in also in the public administration and in the private sector. So what I learned, what was effective and successful, the tools from my male managers and bosses. And I was really bossy, and I needed to heal a lot from the relationships when I also hurt others. But of course, I was hurting because I was also hurt. So the journey started there, and as I could change so much, and my friends looked at me, you changed so much, and I became much more lighter, more feminine. And at that moment, my main focus was harmony. So every single day since then, in the last 20 years, I'm asking every single day, how can I create harmony in my life, in any sense, in any ways, in any part of my life.
Right. I like that idea because maybe just each of us pausing and thinking about that each day would be pretty powerful. Girisha and I then talked about how easy it is to get busy and lose the connection with ourselves, meaning lose the fact that we need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of our physical needs. Do we drink enough water? Do we eat? We're not just throwing food in our mouths just to hurry it along. What do we really want? Our emotional needs, is something we're doing actually satisfying us? Is it making us feel good, or is it making us feel bad? Our priorities, our dreams, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit as well. So we really chatted about this because she felt pretty strongly that a lot of times we kind of lose the ability to pay attention to those things. And I would have to agree. We might be rushing through the day. We're not thinking about those things. And do they really affect the type of person we're attracting in a friendship or in a relationship? Well, if we're not paying attention to our own needs, then quite frankly, easily that could all affect how we're coming across in the world.
And most of the time, my pattern was to give up myself and then put everyone and everything in front of me, and then I'm the last one, or maybe I'm out of the list.
Right. So let's dive into that, because when we talk about choosing someone to date or choosing friends, some people seem to have a really easy time of it, and then others really seem to continue attracting the wrong person. So that's kind of what you're saying that you were doing. So why is that? Why does this happen? She described really seeing a pattern in her family of giving up yourself to serve others in the family. And while providing service to our family is fantastic, the question really is, are we giving up our own selves, our own personalities? And what she described is there was no balance there. It was all about not me, only serving you, only serving others.
And so this was my pattern, and then I was not I didn't feel good enough. I was always neglected. I was always outsider in each of the communities in the school. So this is how I grew up, that if I'm not in guys were not interested in me because I was not a beautiful girl. And it was like a snake, in my under my skin and in my bones, that nobody likes me, and then it's okay. I always put much more effort, much more energy, time, and looking at the others, what they need, how I can, it was always like, how I can help you, how I can help you, how I can help you. Because this was the way I started to feel important, to be
Right.
important. I had to work on myself a lot to get back and reconnect with myself, just going back to finding out what I really need, because I had
Yeah.
no clue. I always became one with the person if they wanted to do something, and I always, it's okay for me, it's absolutely okay. I'm not so important, you know?
Right. So when we notice patterns in ourselves like this, is it often coming from things we've experienced in our lives when we were younger? Is that where a lot of this tends to come from?
Yes, absolutely. What we inherited from our parents and also from our ancestors, and also what we could see, because as like a sponge, we are just taking in, becoming one, what we could see, what we experience, especially in the first 7 years in our life.
Okay. And the tricky part about that is how do we really remember and recognize, right? I don't really remember the first 7 years of my life, and I'm sure others would say that. Yeah.
Yes, I was in the same shoes. And furthermore, my mother didn't remember for our childhood at all.
We continued on and talked about how trauma and trauma situations can potentially cause those memories to be buried. And what she was sharing with me is that she realized later in life that she had experienced trauma from her father. And so all of that required some help with someone working with her, and she really benefited from that. And what we talked about then was the fact that a lot of times, whether or not there has been physical trauma or emotional trauma in life, we've all been affected in some way or another by our childhood and by our interpretation of things that happened that maybe aren't even really what happened. We interpreted it in a way that caused us to maybe shrink back or think differently about the world or hold on to something that provided us, well, maybe provided is not the right word, that caused us to maybe not feel safe, to have insecurity and feel scarcity about the way that life was going for us or how we could interact with other people in relationships. And one thing she brought up that I really want to mention is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So every single human is designed to want and need things in our lives. What Maslow did is created a hierarchy of these needs, going from the bottom of, just picture a pyramid, the bottom of the pyramid, the basic needs for survival, and then working up towards psychological needs, and then really self-fulfillment at the top, the kind of highest level of needs that we could work for in our lives. And so the basic needs at the bottom are physiological, meaning food, shelter, clothing, right? We got to survive, and safety. So safety is in the form of income that allows us to live, and health, having good health, having resources that we know we can live, we can pay for what we need to pay for. Those are the bottom of the pyramid. And if we have experienced things in life, or we've interpreted things we've experienced, leaving us feeling unsafe or not secure, then that's going to affect how we interact with other people in relationships, or what we might be looking for. We might be looking for someone to be in charge of us and take care of those needs because we don't feel like we have them handled. As we work up the pyramid, then we have belonging and esteem. So this is where those relationships really come in, right? This is where we're building strong relationships in the community. However, if we don't have that basis of safety and our physical needs being met and our basic survival, meaning we feel very insecure, we're not going to be able to go up to that next level and build strong relationships. So that is something where sometimes there's a saying, and she mentioned this, and I was thinking about this too, where we're looking for our other half, right? We talk about our other half in a relationship. And what Girisha really wanted us to hear was we're each a whole person. We're not a half a person. So we want to become a whole person and be really happy with ourselves, and then go out and find a person who matches with us, and there's balance and there's great communication and we feel a sense of belonging. And it's not necessarily about that person trying to help us with our insecurity. It's about coming together and being two whole people that really fit well. So maybe that other half kind of saying that we have in both languages isn't quite doing us a favor when it comes to relationships. You're listening to OMG Teach Me because you want to learn how to live well, how to leave the angst behind, maybe some secrets that you never learned in school that might make a really big difference in your life. Well, I have for you 7 days of secrets to living well for free. So make sure that you come check it out. Sign up at www.bit.ly/OMG Teach Me secrets, and I can't wait to hear which ones you try and which ones make a difference for you. So let's bring us back to relationships then. So I hear you. If we don't have this sense of safety in ourselves, then we're probably either projecting out into the world or going out into the world and looking for it from someone else. Is that fair to say? Which might lead to some imbalances.
Yes, the one is that we are projecting, and the other one is from the other aspect that we are hiding. Because there are some spaces, there are some part of us. We cannot connect because we are disconnected. Therefore, we cannot fully show ourselves. And the other thing is that as I feel that I'm not good enough and I miss something and I don't feel loved, then I'm chasing for that. And this is what you said, that projecting something I want to have from the other, but until I cannot give it to myself, and this is what I really want to highlight here, because most of the time we are not thinking that even when we are talking about relationships, that whether I'm a good partner of myself, whether I feel like I deserved a partner, what I project, that I want a perfect man, I want a perfect woman, and I don't feel that I could be a good for them, but I really want, and that's why I cannot reach them, I cannot touch them.
So then the first part of this process, if we're trying to either heal our relationships or create new and healthier relationships, is to recognize our patterns, right? And are we projecting our insecurities out onto someone else and then reacting to that? Are we hiding parts of ourselves or hiding behind someone or looking for someone who's so strong we can hide behind them? Are we losing ourselves by just kind of giving everything to the friend relationship or the romantic relationship? So the first part is to recognize, are there patterns that we can see over time in these relationships?
Next 50% when we are tested whether we really want to step out from this pattern. So this is when we need to be more consciousness and be more aware of. And that part when we need to allow to let go the old friends, because as we are going higher and higher, we are deep, kind of like in the spiral, we are going up. So and then we can connect with a new this new energy, this new quality people. But for that we need to let go the others. But and at the beginning they want us back as an old, our old version.
Right.
So therefore we need to set our boundaries, because I think this is also a key. We need to
Yes.
set our boundaries. Our time is very precious, so we have the right, we deserve to say that whom I really want to spend my time with.
Right.
And the question could have that whether with this person I feel better person, I feel recharged, I feel nourished, I feel the exchange of the energy, or I'm just giving, I'm just kind of like giving and giving, or there is an exchange and I also feel recharged, empowered.
Oh, so important. I'm so glad you've said that because, yeah, we do tend to, I think, hang on to people in our lives for various reasons, just, past shared memories or whatever, who maybe don't make us feel good. Yeah.
And we got used to it because this is an old friend. So, and this part, we need to do a kind of like relationship detox,
Mm-hmm.
when we need to find out, and then as we are going deeper, we start to reconnect with ourselves on a different way and deeper way, and finding our needs, what we were not aware, finding our own rhythm, because and then we can start to dance on an own rhythm, and we are realize that earlier we were following the other's rhythm, whether it was slow or quick or different ones. But it's very, very important that more I can be aligned with myself, the more I can recognize about myself, the more I can allow and respect and value myself enough that, to make this line that this is what I really want. This is what I want, to be loved. I want to be respected. But first, the question is coming back that whether I respect myself, my time enough that I'm spending on a way I really want to.
Yes.
The things and the persons which and whom they are important for me.
So powerful. And I have been in situations. It's interesting because I have some friends that are long, long, long time friends that I do feel good with, and I want to keep those friendships. And I have others for sure that are exactly what you're talking about. I've kind of realized over time, I feel stressed or not as good about myself or something when I'm with this person. Why am I continuing to do that? And it's okay to kind of pull back from spending time with someone like that because of how it makes us feel. I love that you're saying that.
Yes, and the other advice I could usually say to especially a single woman or a single man who really desire, the best and harmonious relationship. But before that, they tried relationships after relationships, to spend a little time with yourself and heal by yourself, and not in and of course relationship is an amazing tool for and journey for healing, but sometimes we need to, and especially if we want to be ready for a healthy and harmonious and respectful and loving and safe relationship, when we can both free, and you can also add the qualities and the emotions you want to feel and how you want to feel, how you want to live your life. And you can also imagine, you can visualize
Right.
what could be and how it looks like and how do you feel, and then bring, and not just with your inner eyes of visualization, but also feel it in your bones, feel it in your skin, how when your partner just touch you, or how do you feel when he or she say to you that I love you, I respect you, I support you, and feel it, and then that be patient to wait for it and work every single day on that you can create a perfect partner as yourself.
I like that a lot. And I can't remember where I read this, but I have read before that it is really a great idea to sit down and figure out exactly what you want in someone that you want to date, a partner that you want, and really, really focus on that. And that's exactly what you're saying. I like the addition that you want to feel it, because it puts you on the right vibration, maybe, to then attract some of that to you, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I also felt on my journey, I also felt so many times hopeless and helpless. And that I'm nobody, I'm not good enough, I cannot make it. Nobody wants me. Everyone just hurt me. And the problem is with me. And the miracle happened with me. Of course, most of the time when we are not expecting, right? And
Yes.
on a way how I couldn't expect it. But I can tell that when a person came into my life, and then of course usually the first period is very intense, and then it started to that like in a honeymoon, even in a relationship, in a friendship, or in a that in a team, in a work, the first it's really intense, and then it started to slow down because we started to get to know each other. And then I remember exactly that in the first months I had just flashes when I was manifested the person. I was manifested exactly, and then there was like I didn't do this kind of like regular manifestation meditation or something, but it was such an amazing experience for me. Then when that this person came into my life, I just get a feedback when I was thinking about this, what I need, how I need the support from a person.
Amazing. Amazing. And how cool to just, you're saying every now and then you got this realization that this is what you were thinking about. This is what you were wanting. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yes, and most of the time, what we are doing, that we are imagining, right? We are visioning. Maybe we can start to feeling also with our senses. But then we have a hurtful situation, or then we start to scare, and then, oh, I'm not deserving it. So kind of like counteractive manifestations are happening. So this is kind of like, and the universe couldn't imagine what we really want, this or that. And our scarcity or old pattern can easily manifest that one we don't want.
I see what you mean.
But the key for this is absolutely the inner work, to discover more, to get closer to ourselves and enjoy time with ourselves.
All right. So, last thing then, I always ask your favorite song to listen to when you want to lift your mood and raise your vibration. And we're going to add it to our Spotify playlist. So, what is yours?
I have so many. Kings and Queens. And the other one is Set You Free.
We don't have either of those yet. So perfect. Yeah, I love it. Awesome. And, it's turning into this really cool playlist of all different sorts of music and different types of feelings. And it just feels good.
Yes.
So we all need more of that, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you again for joining me. I think this is really going to be impactful for a lot of people. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, and use this and also bring it into your everyday life. All of this, what you just heard, and take a note or listen, replay again.
Yes,
and take as a resource for yourself, especially if you are in a down mood. And I just want to empower you and highlight that that you are so beautiful, you are worthy, and you deserve the best love and best friendship and relationship in your life.
I just want to thank Girisha Andrea for joining me this week. This is such a complex topic. If you find that you feel like you're always attracting the wrong person, whether it's dating or whether it's friends, maybe you're trying to fit in with a crowd that you're not totally comfortable with, who knows what it is. Sometimes there are really, really deep issues, and sometimes maybe it's just paying a bit more attention to what makes you happy and what brings you joy. So we talked through some of that, and hopefully at least this gives you a direction as to what you can look at. Recognize the patterns. Is there always a certain way that the person is treating you, that you are dating or befriending? And then, do you feel good with that person? Do they make you happy? Do they make you smile? Do they make you laugh? Oh my gosh, laughter and humor is so important. Or is it more kind of that you're feeling in a graspy energy? You're trying to fit in. You're trying to, I'm doing air quotes here, be more popular. And the first step is recognizing those patterns. The next step is asking yourself, what do I really want? And I love that she talked about visualizing, because I used to think that visualizing the type of friend I wanted, or the type of partner I wanted, or the type of job I wanted, or any of these things, I used to think that it felt like a little bit sad. It felt like I was trying to imagine something that I didn't have, and wasn't that sad? That's not what visualizing does for you at all. If you can get a picture in your head, and in fact, if you love brain science, read the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, I believe it is. If you can get a picture in your head of what you want, gradually your brain is going to start looking for that, and you're going to start recognizing it. And whether it's characteristics of a person, characteristics of a job, characteristics of a friendship, whatever it is, if you can visualize it and see it happening in your head and feel it and smell it and taste it, whatever it is, that vision will be something that your brain will start looking for and recognizing in real life. There's a lot of brain science behind that. So if you want to think about visualizing the type of relationship and the type of friendships you'd like to have, it really is a good step forward. So I hope you like this episode. Thank you so much, Girisha. She is offering a free 30-minute laser coaching session. She also has a Facebook group for women, and I will put her Instagram in the show notes. You can connect in all different ways, and we're so happy that you could listen in today. Have a great one. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. OMG, I would be so honored if you would take a moment, leave a rating, leave a review, or take a screenshot and share on your social media. Let's get this message out further into the world. Now it's time to head down to the show notes to see the resources I mentioned. We may not have learned this before, but it sure is powerful now.